One of the powerful things about marketing is when you do it effectively, marketing puts money in your pocket. Yet most people are reluctant to spend money on their marketing. In this first episode on lead generation, we discuss how this mindset is toxic for your business and how you can start investing in your marketing to help your brand succeed. Is there an imbalance in your brand galaxy? A disconnect between the internal and external message of your brand? Introducing Masters of the Brandiverse, a weekly show where business leaders can find the marketing tools they need to catapult to the next level. Join co-host Nick Coleman and myself, Graham Skaggs, as we give you strategies and concepts to successfully build a powerful brand. Welcome to Masters of the Brandiverse. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel.
And if you like what you hear, leave us a comment below.
I think, before I worked for a marketing company, I'd see these brands with amazing marketing thinking that it was so easy to do, flawless. And then you sort of get into it and you realize really effective marketing is a lot harder than it looks and a lot more going into it and a lot more money.
Yeah.
So today I think
But isn't that what, if you're really good at something, you make it look easy?
Always. Always. And I think there's also a tendency where if you can see someone do something, you just assume you could do it yourself. And when really a lot more goes into it, we don't always see the thousands, hundreds of thousands of shots that Michael Jordan put in before he became the figure we know today. Similarly, a brand like Chick-fil-A, we don't know the amount of work they put in to become, the reputable brand that they've become. And so I think when we started kind of exploring marketing, as a career, one of the biggest challenges we had in some of our early clients was realizing that our clients didn't look at marketing as an investment. They had a tendency to look at it more as an expense. And something that we've talked about is how toxic that mentality can be for your business. A question I'd have for you is why is thinking of marketing as an expense so toxic for business?
That's a good question. I mean, first of all, if we just kind of go back, this is actually one of the number one problems that I do see with a lot of businesses is that they do think of marketing as an expense. And here's the thing, an expense is something that doesn't give you a return. That's just the bottom line. It's like if you buy pencils, if you buy paper, those are not necessarily going to bring you a return for your money. You're not going to get anything extra for your business. You're not going to increase revenue. That's really what an expense is. And marketing is not that way. If you do marketing in a very effective way, that the money that you spend, you're going to get back plus more. So that's why it's critical to think of marketing as an investment, because you're going to get a return on that investment. So sometimes it might be slow. Like if you do brand awareness, investing in that's more of a long-term growth strategy. You're not going to necessarily see return on your investments immediately.
Yeah.
So it's more like a slow growth stock, if you want to kind of put it in those type of terms. That, okay, if I put a little bit of money here and we're going to increase our awareness in the marketplace, more and more people are going to know who we are. We're not necessarily going to actually get conversions right away, but in the long term, the more people that know us, the more familiar they are, and then once they're ready to make a purchase, they're going to most likely come to us. Where then you also have more immediate type of return on your investments, which are your lead generations, your ads that you might run to get a quick sale if you're an e-commerce site, something like that. Those are going to be you're going to get quick returns on your money. But at the end of the day, it's not an expense because you're getting a return on that investment.
And so basically, if you're a leader, you have a business, your attitude towards marketing shouldn't be, I'm spending X number of dollars a month on this. It should be more of, okay, for every dollar I'm spending, I'm seeing $2 return or $1.50 return. Like in general, like in your experience, what's like a good return on investment for marketing? Just from like what you've seen, like what can someone expect if your marketing is really dialed in, you have a good team doing your work, what would be a good return?
Well, it all depends on the channel.
Uh-huh.
But for the most part, for every dollar that you spend, in theory, it should bring about $10 to your business.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I mean, that's really the long-term type of goal. So when we're sitting here talking about like how you look at your expenses, I mean, not your expense, but your investment, it all boils down to what is the cost per that acquisition, right? And then breaking it down even further, what really gets lost in that is that many companies do not look at what is the lifetime value of that customer. So that's really where your cost per acquisition comes in.
Wow. Okay.
Because like, okay, if you get a customer and it costs you, we'll just say in this example, it costs you $30 for that customer to do business with you, right? So they just bought a product from you and it costs you $30 to get that brand new customer. Well, if that customer then stays with you for 3 years and buys from you 2 more times, well, for that $30, they've made 3 purchases with you. So really the lifetime value of that customer is $10. And so now you can see, well, maybe they came in, they bought one product at $100, we'll just say.
Yeah.
And they bought it for that $30. Well, say they bought 2 more times for $100 each. Well, now they have spent $300 with your business and you spent $30 to get them. So now you can see how you get that 1 to 10 ratio. So that's how businesses really need to look at it and go, okay, what is our lifetime value of this customer?
Yeah.
And this is where now we need to look at, if we're going to get a good return on our investment, if we can lower that cost per acquisition, maybe get them down to $8, now you're really going to be making really good return on your investment.
That's really cool, man. I think, okay, so if you're a business owner and you haven't had this shift from an expense to an investment, how are you going to think about your marketing? Like how does that mindset affect the decisions you make?
Well, see, here's the key. Most likely, if they are in that type of space, one, they don't understand how marketing works. They really don't understand really how marketing altogether works with digital, with offline, all of these things. They don't quite understand it, and they think, well, I'm spending all this money and I'm not really seeing a return. Well, it could be your strategy is off. It could be that you're spending too much time on brand awareness. That's why you're not seeing a return on your investment right away. You know, so it really boils down to the strategy that someone puts behind their marketing. So if they come with a mindset, the strategy that we are putting together is going to get some type of return on investment, then the owner is going to look at it differently, because you'll be able to go to them and say, well, Jim, we spent $1,000, but this $1,000 is contributed to $10,000 worth of revenue to the business. Now the owner is going to think totally different. But if they're spending $1,000 and all they made was $1,000, or all they made was $500, then of course you're going to look at it and go, I need to get rid of this expense. It's not working. So it's all down to strategy.
I think there's another like component to this, and think of it this way. If you think of something as an investment, you're going to be more patient. You're going to wait to see a return on your investment. You're not going to expect something you invest in to give you money right away. You have this mindset of patience. Whereas when you think of something as an expense, your mindset is more, okay, I'm paying for this, give me something back. I need something now. I think that in general, when I've worked with clients or customers in the past who've had more of an expense mindset, they also tend to be less patient on deadlines. They tend not to allow us to create the most creative work or to put in the amount of work we should on strategy, because like you're saying, it sounds like strategy is a key component to successful a successful marketing campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. And research.
Yeah.
So it's like if you go and invest in a company, you're going to look at their finances, their portfolio, right? Their expense sheets, all that type of stuff, and go, okay, is this company have good long-term growth? And then you'll invest in them. That doesn't always happen with some of the clients that we've run across, that they don't necessarily look at doing a whole market research and say, well, how's the market growing with this particular product? They just have an idea and they think, well, this is going to be really good. People will love it. But they don't necessarily also do some research to go, well, is this a type of product that the market wants? And how many people out there are most likely going to be able to buy my particular product? So all those things play into it, and it might not be researching how much it's going to cost to be able to acquire that customer. So there's just a lot of factors that might go into that. So that's why they quite don't understand what it is that they're going to get a return on. So if maybe they've created a product that the market doesn't want, and then they just think, oh, my marketing is just terrible, it's not working for me. But the reality is you didn't really research to see if people even wanted your product to begin with. Or maybe they did want your product, but you didn't research to see what problem that product solves and then position it to solve it for them. You see what I'm saying?
So they didn't do due diligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Huh.
And it's because it takes a lot of time. So if I spend money on something, I want a return on it. And a lot of people, if they start a business, they might put everything they have into it. So, of course, you know, you're going to be stressed. You're going to be panicked. You're going to be like, well, my mortgage is due. I've invested everything I have into this business. I need a return on it. So there's a lot of like other factors that go into why someone might rush. So it's like you want to be fast, but you also want to be like slow in the way that you think. So it's like being in a game. If a game is moving too fast, then a player is not going to play well. So it's like a quarterback. If he's in a stressful situation, maybe the clock is running out, he might have like a minute and a half left on the clock, and he needs to do this drive in order to win the game. Well, he can't be like, the game can't be moving fast to him. Even though he has this time restriction, it's not going anywhere. He still has to calm himself down to be able to slow the game down, to think methodically about how he wants to approach the final drive.
And the problem, though, with that player is if he's losing focus, confused, the problem is that player is not put in the practice, right?
Yeah, that could be the case.
They haven't trained under this applies to your metaphor, because in the same way a player in a game has to put in the hours, business owners have to put in the hours on research. And if not necessarily just the business owner, but a marketing team has to put in the hours to prepare for the game. You know, I think that's a part of it. If you approach it as an expense, you're going to rush the game. You're not going to give people the time that they need. But if you understand that, you know, at first when you start investing, your return is minimal. You don't get much back the first year you're investing your pennies and dimes. But when those pennies and dimes turn into dollars, those dollars turn into tens of dollars, hundreds, it grows exponentially. So it's like a curve. I think marketing is the same way. It can take a long time for an awareness campaign to work, right? But long term, that awareness campaign is powerful. Like Coke. Like Coke owns that market. Like they own beverages. I think they're the #1 beverage company in the world, right? I think they're one of the biggest companies in the world besides tech. They're a non-tech company that is it's huge. But the amount of time they've spent on awareness, it's massive, right? And they've done their due diligence. You know, they've worked hard. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and they didn't start off that way either.
No,
I mean they didn't start off as the biggest beverage company.
It took time. It took a lot of time.
And
it took being smart. It took understanding their customers, because it's like their recent campaign where you could buy a Coke bottle with your name on it. It was genius. I mean, what they did was they looked at their user and they asked, how do we help our brand connect an individual with their own sense of identity? So they stripped their branding off and put your name on directly associating who you are as a person with their brand.
That's pretty genius,
It's
actually.
pretty smart.
Yeah.
But they're thinking about the right way, because a lot of businesses are so self-centered. Oh, this is what we do. We're a vacuum company. We're so awesome. They don't talk to their customers about what their vacuum can do for the customer, which is ultimately who the vacuum's for, and then creating marketing around solving that customer problem. So I think when you start thinking of it as an investment, it's not an expense on you. It's an investment into your future, into your customer.
That's right.
Just the mindset's just, I think, totally different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, you're spot
And I would
on.
have never thought, like marketing boiled down to mindset, but in some ways it kind of does. It boils down to your attitude about it too. Thanks for watching Masters of the Brandiverse. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the like button below and subscribe to our channel. In this episode, we discussed the power of viewing your marketing as an investment, and how seeing your marketing as an expense can hurt your business. In the next episode, tune in to hear more about lead generation and strategies you can use to make your marketing more effective.